A night to begin again. The club was a cacophony of laughter and pulsating beats, the kind of place that felt like it was designed to disorient you, to make you feel alive in a way that was almost overwhelming. I stood there, my heart racing, the strobe lights reflecting off the disco ball, and painting the room in a kaleidoscope of colors that matched the swirl of emotions in my head. This was my first night out since the breakup, and I wasn't sure if I was ready for this. The smell of cheap perfume and sweat hung in the air, a scent that normally made me feel alive, but tonight it just made me feel off. Michelle, my best friend and wingwoman for the night, leaned in close, her voice barely audible over the din. "You okay?" she mouthed. I nodded, trying to look more confident than I felt. She gave me a thumbs up and disappeared back into the throng of dancers, leaving me with my thoughts and a drink that was half empty and tasting more bitter with every passing moment. I scanned the room, looking for anything that would catch my eye, something that would make me feel like maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a terrible idea. Summary: 1. At the club, Claire feels out of place post-breakup with Curtis. Despite her discomfort, she's determined to enjoy the night and possibly find someone to rebound with. Her friend Michelle is her support, but Claire is still uncertain about her intentions and the atmosphere around her. That's when I saw her. She was standing at the bar, talking to the bartender with a confidence that was as palpable as the bass vibrating through the floor. She was dressed in a white button-down shirt, the sleeves rolled up to show her forearms, and a loose black tie that hung around her neck like a declaration of rebellion. Her hair was styled in a way that made me want to run my fingers through it, and the way she tapped her foot to the beat of the music made me think she had rhythm in places that counted. She was with a group of loud, obviously intoxicated women, but she didn't seem to be one of them. She was different. I took a deep breath and pushed through the crowd, my heels clicking against the sticky floor. By the time I reached the bar, my heart was racing so fast, I was sure it was going to escape my chest. She looked up at me, her eyes meeting mine, and something electric passed between us. "You look lost," she said, her voice a smoky purr that made my knees weak. "Maybe I am," I replied, trying to sound cooler than I felt. "But maybe I'm just looking for the bathroom." She laughed, a deep, throaty sound that sent shivers down my spine. "In that case, I think I can help you find it." Summary: 1. Claire spots an attractive person named Lou at the bar. Lou stands out from the rowdy bachelorette party they're with. They exude confidence and catch Claire's eye. Despite her nerves, Claire approaches and starts a conversation, leading to Lou offering to help her find the bathroom. Her name was Lou, and she had a smile that could melt the polar ice caps. She led me through the maze of bodies, and with every step, I felt more and more drawn to her. We talked about nothing in particular, the kind of small talk that fills the space between two people who are trying to figure each other out. But with every word she said, I felt like I was peeling back layers, getting closer to the real her, the one that made my stomach flip-flop every time she looked at me. And she did look at me, in a way that made it clear she was interested. The kind of look that said she didn't just want to dance, she wanted a story. We found ourselves in a quieter corner of the club, the music now a distant throb rather than an all-enveloping force. "So what's your deal?" she asked, her hand resting casually on my hip. "You don't seem like you belong here." I took a sip of my drink, the ice cold against my teeth. "I'm just trying to get over someone," I said, my voice small. "Someone who didn't deserve me." She nodded, her eyes softening with understanding. "And what are you looking for tonight?" Summary: 1. Claire and Lou move to a quieter spot in the club and continue their conversation. The attraction between them grows as they talk, sharing smiles and meaningful glances. Lou asks Claire about her intentions for the night, which leads to Claire opening up about wanting to get over her ex-boyfriend. I open my mouth to say something about a rebound, about wanting to feel desired and wanted, but the words stuck in my throat. Because looking at Lou with her sharp cheekbones and her easy smile, I realized that maybe, just maybe, I was looking for something more. Something that didn't involve a hasty exit and regret in the morning. Something real. Something that could fill the hole that had been left behind. I don't know, I admitted. But maybe I'm looking for someone who can make me feel alive again. She leaned in closer, her breath hot against my ear. Well, then you've come to the right place. And she kissed me. It was a kiss that made the world stop spinning, that made the noise of the club fade away to nothing. Her lips were soft and sure, her tongue dancing with mine in a way that made me feel seen. It wasn't just a kiss, it was a promise, a declaration of intent. And as our bodies pressed together, I knew that I didn't want this to end. Not here, not now, not ever. Michelle found us a few minutes later, her eyes wide. You found someone, she shouted over the music. You okay? I nodded, a stupid grin plastered on my face. Better than okay. She took one look at Lou and her jaw dropped. You go, girl, she shouted before disappearing again. The night passed in a blur of kisses and touches, of whispered secrets and shared laughs. We talked about everything and nothing, our bodies moving together to the music in a way that felt like we had been doing this for years. And when the lights finally came up and the music stopped, I knew that this was the kind of night that didn't end in a bathroom stall or a hasty goodbye. This was the kind of night that could change everything. As we stumbled out into the cold night air, Lou took my hand, leading me away from the club and towards a future that was suddenly looking a lot less lonely. So about that date, she said, her breath misting in the cold. How about tomorrow? I squeezed her hand tightly. I'd like that. And with that, we stepped into the night, ready to write the next chapter of our story. The next day was a whirlwind of butterflies and anticipation. I picked out an outfit that screamed, I'm over my ex, but also I'm open to something real. The nervous energy was like a pot of boiling water, threatening to spill over at any moment. When Lou texted to say she was outside, I took one last look in the mirror and hoped for the best. The date was everything I never knew I needed. We talked about our favorite movies, the books that had changed our lives, and the weird little quirks that made us who we were. She took me to a small Italian place that smelled like garlic and love, and we shared a bottle of wine that tasted like possibility. Her hand brushed against mine as we ate, and every time our eyes met, I felt like I was falling into a warm, inviting pool of chocolate. We didn't rush into anything, though. We took our time, savoring every moment. We walked through the city, holding hands and laughing at nothing in particular. We kissed under the stars, our breaths mingling in the chilly air. And when she finally took me home, she didn't push for anything more than another kiss. She was the kind of person who understood that sometimes you just needed to be seen, to be felt, to be loved without any strings attached. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't help but think about how different this felt from the hollowness of my previous attempts to fill the void left by Curtis. This was real, this was raw, this was life. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was living it. The days turned into weeks, and our dates turned into something more. We watched the sun rise together, we danced in the rain, and we laughed until our stomachs hurt. And slowly but surely, the pain of my breakup started to fade into the background, replaced by the warmth of Lou's smile and the sweetness of her kiss. One night, as we lay tangled in my bed, the air thick with desire, she whispered, I think I'm falling for you. And in that moment, with her heart beating against mine, I knew that I had found something worth holding on to. Maybe the club wasn't the place I thought I needed to heal. Maybe it was just the place I needed to find her. And as we kissed, the world outside forgotten, I realized that sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. The story of Claire and Lou had just begun, and it was going to be one hell of a ride. The next week, we went on another date, and this time it was at a quirky little art gallery that was having a lesbian art show. The walls were covered in paintings and sculptures that spoke of love, loss, and the beauty of finding yourself. We walked hand in hand looking at the art, but really we were just looking at each other. Every now and then, our eyes would meet, and I'd feel my heart do a little somersault. It was like we were the only two people in the room, and the art was just a backdrop for the masterpiece that was us. After the show, we went to a quiet little park and sat on a bench, sharing a pint of mint chocolate chip ice cream. It was cold, but we didn't care. We talked about the art, about our favorite pieces, and about what we thought the artists were trying to say. And as we talked, I felt something shift inside of me. It was like all the sadness and doubt from the breakup was slowly being replaced by something new, something beautiful. Then, without warning, Lou leaned over and kissed me. It was a kiss that said, "I'm here and I'm not going anywhere." And in that moment, I knew that she was right. This was more than just a rebound. This was something real, something that had the potential to last. We didn't rush into bed that night. Instead, we went back to her place and talked until the sun started to rise. We talked about our hopes, our fears, our dreams, and our pasts. And when we finally did kiss goodbye, it was with the understanding that we had something special. The next few weeks were a blur of dates and late-night phone calls, of shared secrets and stolen kisses. We explored the city together, finding hidden gems that only locals knew about. We watched movies that made us cry, and we danced in the kitchen to songs that made us laugh. And every time she looked at me, I felt like I was the most beautiful woman in the world. But as much as I wanted to dive in headfirst, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't ready. The scars from Curtis were still fresh, and I didn't want to get hurt again. So I took a step back, telling Lou that I needed some space. She understood, of course she did. She was the most understanding person I had ever met, but it didn't stop the ache in my chest every time I thought about her. I spent the next few days lost in my own thoughts, trying to figure out what I wanted. And what I realized was that I didn't want to be without her. So I picked up my phone, took a deep breath, and sent her a text. "Miss you," it said. "Can we talk?" Her response came almost immediately. "Of course. I've missed you too." And with those 4 words, I knew that we were going to be okay. We were going to figure this out together. Because sometimes the best thing you can do after a breakup is to find someone who makes you feel alive again. And that's exactly what Lou had done for me. So we talked and we laughed and we promised to take things slow. To build something strong, something that could stand the test of time. And as we hung up the phone, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt hope. The following weekend, we had a picnic in the park, just the 2 of us. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the only thing that mattered was the taste of her lips. We lay on the blanket, our bodies entwined, and watched the clouds roll by. And as we kissed, I knew that this was it. This was the real deal. We decided to take the next step, and it was everything I had dreamed of. We made love in the soft light of her bedroom, our bodies moving together in perfect harmony. It was gentle, it was passionate, and it was everything I needed to heal. As we lay there, catching our breaths, she whispered, "I love you." And in that moment, I realized that I had found my forever in the most unexpected place. The club had been the start of something incredible, but it was in her arms that I had found my home. The story of Claire and Lou was no longer just about finding myself after heartbreak. It was about finding someone who saw the real me, who loved me for all of my quirks and flaws. And as we laid there, our bodies still tangled, I knew that I had found something incredibly rare. We decided to keep our relationship low-key at first, just the 2 of us enjoying our newfound love without the prying eyes of the outside world. We had dinner parties with our closest friends, who all adored Lou and the light she brought into my life. We would stay up all night watching movies, our legs intertwined and heads resting on each other's shoulders. It was like we were two puzzle pieces that had finally found their perfect match. But as much as we enjoyed our quiet nights in, the pull of the outside world was too strong to ignore. We started to go out more, attending events and parties, holding hands proudly. The first time we went to Cellar together, it was like coming home. The bass thumped in our chests, the lights flashed around us, and we danced like nobody was watching. It was our place now, our sanctuary from the mundane. But with every moment of happiness, there was a shadow of doubt that lingered in the back of my mind. What if this wasn't real? What if I was just rebounding? What if I was using Lou to fill a void that was never meant to be filled? I pushed those thoughts aside, focusing on the warmth of her touch and the sweetness of her kiss. One evening, as we were walking home from the club, holding hands and laughing, I turned to her. "I know this might sound crazy," I said, my heart racing, "but I think I'm falling in love with you." She stopped, her eyes searching mine. "You don't think it's just the excitement of a new relationship?" "No," I said firmly. "It's more than that. It's like, you're the other half of my soul." Her smile was like the sun breaking through the clouds. "I feel the same way," she whispered, leaning in to kiss me. It was a kiss that held all the love and hope of 1,000 futures. And so we continued to dance through life together, hand in hand, heart to heart. The club had been the backdrop for our beginning, but it was our love that painted the picture of our lives together. And as we grew, so did our love, becoming something stronger and more beautiful with every passing day. The breakup with Curtis had been a catalyst for change, a chance to find myself in what I truly desired. And in the end, I realized that what I had been searching for wasn't just a rebound. It was someone to share my life with, to laugh with, to love with all my heart. And in the most unexpected place, I had found her.